overall, how has your press run been for this show?
Ooh, girl, it's been long. I'm like pretty ready to go home. This is like my last round of interviews. It's been amazing, but what's really fun is when you get to share it with people who are like super fans of Star Wars, you know? And for a while, we haven't been able to talk about anything. But now we can. And so I'm sure going forward, it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's real. That's real. So the first time you saw the episode and you saw yourself twice, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I mean, filming is such an interesting process because it's kind of like a shot into the dark. Like you do something, you try something, you think it's going to be a certain way, and sometimes when you see the finished product, you're like, "That's what I was doing," or you're like, "Oh, that's what I was doing." Yes, And I think when I watched for the first time, I was like, "Wow, those are two different people for sure," and I felt very, I felt relieved about that.
So how much of the fighting sequences did you do?
The way I like to describe it is if I am doing some sort of flip, if I'm upside down or something along those lines, that is not me. But if there's some knife work, punches, kicks, some floor work, that kind of stuff, it's probably me.
How long did you train for it and how grueling was it?
I trained for 6 weeks, which I freaked out about. I remember going to producers and being like, Hayden Christensen trained for 12 weeks. Like, why would you put me in this position? And they were like, can you please relax? But I trained every day for those 6 weeks. And then after that, I continued to train after work while we were filming. And it was
It was
very, it was,
amazing.
it was very grueling. Yeah.
It was amazing. Like my dad trained, so I was like, "Oh, you're talented." So 6 weeks,
It was six
very good.
weeks. It was 6 weeks. Not the upside down parts though. I did not figure out how to do wire work in 6 weeks. No, did not, did not. But I did really develop a love for stunt choreography. It's so much fun. It reminds me of dancing, and I guess I didn't anticipate that going in. I felt like I was just learning, dance choreography.
And so you portrayed twins.
Mm-hmm.
How did you learn to, because they're different, what's great about the series is you're able to see that they are connected, although they are different. How are you
Mm-hmm.
able to connect with their different personalities and they're just whole different, beings?
Well, I really wanted them to feel like they had qualities that were complementary and opposite of each other. And so I guess I thought often about the expression of emotion. So for May, the way that she so freely expresses emotion, and that was something I saw in the subtext, and so it felt like something I should just really lean into, as opposed to having her be like a strong, tough fighter. I wanted her to be like an emotional fighter, like every single time that she, throws a punch or a kick, she's like, I don't know, on the verge of tears. I thought that was interesting because I wanted her to feel like this channel of feeling that was dangerous, but also kind of her strong suit and like the most beautiful quality in her. Um, and I wanted Osha to feel like she had an ability to process her emotions and that she was continually suppressing them, and that was what was blocking her connection to the force. And I identify with both for sure.
I was going to follow up and ask that. So that's good
Yeah,
to know. And so, as a BIPOC, non binary artist, do you feel a sense of responsibility leading a Star Wars series?
of course, yeah. Big time. Um, I feel a lot of responsibility. I felt a lot of trepidation actually when I first became aware of the opportunity. And I thought really long and hard about what this experience would be like and how it would potentially shape my life. And then I just felt that the blessings that would come of it and what it could potentially mean to me and hopefully others just surpassed that trepidation, tenfold.
the reception, has anything like really hit you and I'm like, yep, this is what I was doing it for?
Well, it came out a couple of days ago, and the response is so difficult for me to track because there's so much and I'm not used to that. There's like so much discourse and like perspective and kinds of people responding to it, so I can't even fully wrap my brain around what is going on yet. That's gonna take me some time, but I do see, like, I see pockets, and I'm also trying not to spend too much time on the internet, but I see pockets of like what I was hoping would come of this, definitely, which is joy, joy and imagination and fantasy, um, and hopefully providing that space for those who deserve it.
And last question. So you're not just a part of the Star Wars legacy now, but you're also a part of the music legacy. How
Yeah.
how surreal is that feeling just thinking about that moment when you recorded it?
Oh man. I mean, when you put it that way, that I'm a part of the legacy of the music of Star Wars. I mean, I'm like, oh, I made a YouTube video. But that's also, this is how I deal with things. I have to compartmentalize just to like get through day to day right now. And I can't think of myself as like, I contributed to the legacy of Star Wars music. I can only think of like, it was really cool that they let me do that thing that's on YouTube.
Now it's a part of it, because if someone goes on YouTube, you type it in, you pop up. So
Amen, okay? You know what? I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna receive that. I'm gonna let that soak in. Yes. No, it was incredible. Like I was so honored that anyone was down for me to do that.
yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for the questions. That was fun.